What's going on, people? Welcome to the Full View, man. Sunday, 10th of December. Good vibes, John, there in the corner trying
Look at him
to.
trying. I thought that as well.
I think he's got his Walkman on. He's listening to music.
Yeah,
He's
just vibing.
not listening to us. He's just vibing. He's good vibes, John, at all times. Big up to Rich. Big up to Marcel. Big up to Kenny. Big up to Owen. Big up to you guys at home. It's obviously been a tough 24 hours. Obviously, we're still in shock from what happened yesterday and where it leaves us. And just as we predicted, obviously on social media, the storm is there. Tomorrow is press conference day for Bayern Munich. The game is on Tuesday. You just don't know where to put your head, do you? You don't really know where to look. But we've got a lot to get into in this full view. And I did a video earlier. I'll start off by saying this. We are going to talk about Ten Hag's United future as a debate, to talk about what it looks like. Not talk about why is he not gone yet? Why is he not sacked yet? Get him out. Nothing like that. It's more of like where we're at and where we think this can go and what his future holds and how we think this is going to go. I'll start off by saying, look, I did a video earlier on and I asked you guys to get involved in the comments and, get involved in some of the questions you'd like me to ask tomorrow at Carrington and give me your opinion. And a lot of people were really disappointed in me. I followed Flex for ages. I think this is disgusting. And, and this is what we're here to talk about. I'm not going to shy away from how I feel and questioning myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Questioning myself. We talk Ajax, guys, are right here as well. Don't lose hope, guys. Don't lose hope. So this is going to be a really honest full view. I want everybody to, we're not anything but honest, but I think this is a real therapy session. You guys in the comments get involved. Let us know how you're feeling truly. And the same with the panel. I mean, Marcel, I'm going to start with you. What are you feeling, bro? What are you feeling?
Firstly, evening, man. I'm good. I'm good. This is part of the process. I see this loss, 3-0, a 3-0 loss in the fashion that it happened as part of the process. We got to look at Ten Hag season by season. Last season, he was fantastic. In terms of what he achieved, he overachieved to a degree, and he deserves the credit. He deserves the opportunity to work through this difficult period and to be there for the rest of the season. We can understand, obviously, the reason why he's not been able to play the way that he wants to. He's having to play players like Scott McTominay, Maguire, players that were not meant to be here from last season. I said it even after the Brentford game, even though Scott McTominay had contributed it so massively in the way that he did. I said, well, at the end of the day, he's not meant to be here, guys. So, in any
you did say that, actually. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, in any sort of shape or system that Ten Hag tries to implement, he's not going to have the players required under his demands and principles. We've seen that. And even under previous managers, we've seen these players down tools. And some of these players are Mourinho players and Ole players. So it's going to be a process, guys. Ten Hag hasn't been able to get players out, and yes, he's been able to invest heavily, and some of them haven't worked. And all of his signings, even the goalkeeper, has been injured. So we're in a difficult situation and period here. And he has to reward players that play well. So he had to keep playing Scott McTominay. Yes, it's a simple fact. He had to play Scott McTominay. He was scoring goals and we were winning games. Yes, in a poor fashion, but we were winning games. So for me, I'm just in a position where we have to sit tight. We said buckle in. I remember at the beginning, every single one of us said buckle in 2 years ago. And I'm very, very happy to be committed to that cause. He hasn't shown me anything massively horrible. He's always trying to play offensive football, even against the bigger teams. And that's why we get slapped. It's, against Liverpool, it was a 7-0, but that was at half time. We started crumbling like we've seen these players do before. So, there's a lot of deadwood in this team, guys. There's plenty of deadwood in this team.
Would you say, though, and I don't necessarily disagree with some of your points there. I think that you do bring up some good points. However, I don't think any of us can sit here on this panel this evening and saying that losing 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, 15th in the league, and it could have been 4. They were unlucky.
Could have been 5.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, exactly. They had the ball in the net for 5 or 6 times in that game. That's not part of a process. That's that. I mean, no one's got a divine right to win football matches. I hate the whole we're Manchester United because what have we done for a decade, right? No one's got a divine right to win the Premier League or anything like that. You have to earn it. You have to work for it. But that ain't part of a process. And I'm Erik Ten Hag. I don't think we should sack the manager because I think it's bigger than that. I think Manchester United is rotten to the core, from the top down. And I think that unless there's substantial sweeping change culturally, at the executive level as well, then it won't get sorted, it won't get fixed. But what I will say is that's not part of the process. Yesterday is not part of the process.
Well, neither is the 7-0, Owen. Neither is the 7-0. Neither is any of the other poor performances part of it. But Ten Hag this time as well, because I think, this season's been so interesting where we've seen Ten Hag compromise his principles a couple of times just to get results against Burnley and things like that. But in this game, he tried to play, he tried to play offensively. He tried to go and attack them, and we still don't have those players.
Which we should be playing Bournemouth at home. He should.
Yeah, but we know that Maguire can't play from the halfway line, Flex. We knew that something since
I don't think this is a Maguire. This wasn't a Maguire.
He's been doing all right. He's been doing all right doing that.
He's become a man. He's become a man. He was under adversity last season. Was shown that he was surplus to requirements. Had to train hard, stay within the team, and then he comes back and plays well. And plays for his pride.
That's the thing, Marcel. We're talking about this thing. Maguire's not even our biggest problem right now.
Yeah, not at all.
He's not. When we've lost all these games, I ain't even looking Maguire's direction.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm trying to say. When it's quite an interesting thing, we've had players of poor form in Rashford. That was brilliant last season. That adds to the melting pot of why we've been poor in this situation. We've had players that have been injured. Every single one of Ten Hag's signings have been injured. We've had players that haven't had.
They haven't always, Marcel, though. But they haven't always.
I'm not saying that they always. I'm just saying the reason why we can't.
He wasn't picking. Hoyland, he left on the bench the other day. Anthony's been in and out. Onana's signing.
There's just been no consistency, Fleck. There's just been no consistency, and that's not just because of Ten Hag. I think he's got to be more ruthless. I think at some stage you've got to get Scott out of the team because he can't do the demands. He doesn't have the temperament on rest defense. He's not covering the spaces behind him. So get Amrabat in. Get Hannibal in there, who's more dynamic and can run all day and cover in the spaces in behind him. So he just has to get the balance of this team right. And when he starts to do that, we should be able to give him time. I'm pretty sure last season, that's one of the best kind of returns that I've seen from a manager in recent year. Give him time to sort out and steady the ship, guys, man. I'm happy to buckle in. This is way too early to call for his head. It's been ridiculous that I'm hearing these kind of things, if I'm honest.
Okay. There's a lot of super chats, actually. Before I come to Kenny and go around the room, get to Good Vibes John, get to Rich, get to Owen, and get to you guys in the comments as well. Drosky says, losing 6-0. To Liverpool is progress versus last season.
that is toxic positivity right there.
Yeah, exactly. Tony Stark says, this is my contribution towards getting Marcel a pair of Manchester United branded headphones. They're calling you Ty Cell. They're calling you Ty Cell.
I was waiting for it. It was raining because it was raining yesterday. I was waiting for that. I was going to be the next one, but it was raining.
Aminor says, Marcel Ange has a style of play, but Eric Ten Hag doesn't. We saw that today. They absolutely smashed Newcastle. Joski says, imagine losing to Bournemouth and say it's a process. Daniel says, it's on the players. Eric Ten Hag every now and then, but I will stick with him until we're relegated. We can't keep doing the same thing. What's the point? All Elite says, if Eric Ten Hag goes, the players remain. They are the issue. No fight, no discipline, disgusting and attitudes. Eric Ten Hag needs help in the transfer window. Eric Ten Hag in. And Full Studio says, Flex, go back and watch the video with Ajax you did. Everything he said was right. He said he won't be able to copy the Ajax style, and this weakness, and his weakness is no plan B. I do remember him saying no plan B as well. Julian says, massively deluded, talking about a process. Eric Ten Hag, not it. Drosky says, Marcel's, I don't think, I'm not saying that. And Yogoro Smith says, I think we get worse every year because less of Sir Alex influence each time. Kenny, oh, hang on, just quickly. K Flo says, some of these players take all of us for mugs. Some play for contracts. Some have a good heart, but not good enough. City were going to win the league, and we rocked them 3-2 to only lose to West Brom. Going back to that season. Yeah, and then they won the league straight after that. I think we are up to date. Kenny, what say you on where
yesterday? Yeah, where we're at. Disappointment yesterday, obviously. The biggest thing for me yesterday was we got out coached. And we started off, Shaw, centre back. Shaw gets the ball off Onana every time Onana passed to Shaw. The players on the left-hand side were too far in front of Shaw. So what did he do? He passes it to Amrabat in the middle. As soon as Amrabat got the ball, right, he had 2 players on him. So Amrabat then starts to panic, right? Scott McTominay was still in the crowd signing autographs from Thursday night. Do you know? Well, Wednesday, whenever we played, right? He was absolutely terrible. And I have to blame the coach because we could all see it, what was happening. Shaw was looking up left. He was trying to get Garnacho going. He was trying to get Reguilon going. Ball comes into Amrabat. Amrabat just got overrun. And the pressing was straight down the middle. The press straight down the middle. Amrabat, no chance. McTominay, where have you gone, McTominay? Come back, help him. No, it didn't. So what he should have done, and I do blame, he should have pulled McTominay over or pulled him off and brought Manu in and went to 2 in the two holding midfielders because it needed it yesterday because they knew how to. We just could not outplay. We couldn't play out of our own half against Bournemouth. We could not play out of our own half. We then started Onana with big kicks to the left wing, big kicks to the right wing, trying to get Garnacho going, trying to get Anthony going. Actual transition from back to front was non-existent. We then get into our half. You've got Reguilon on the left, and Reguilon I thought going forward was okay. I didn't have a problem. And then we had Dallo on the other side, and every single ball was a high ball into the box. Every ball. There was nothing on the ground. There was no little triangles. So what you've got Reguilon putting big high balls in. Marcel, who didn't want to run and didn't want to jump for the ball, he certainly wasn't going to run in front of the central defenders. He was waiting on the back post. It was awful. It was like watching Sam Allardyce's team. It was like in that final third, it was like watching Sam Allardyce. There was no skill or anything. And the worst player in the world to have when you want that type of it, you want a bit of skill is McTominay. Yes, he's scoring the goals, and that's why he's playing. We've said it before. It's survival football from the point of view that he's trusting McTominay to get him a goal, and that's what he needs, a goal. So he started to play Garnacho over Rashford. Why? Because Garnacho scored a couple of goals, so he gets a nod. And I think it were brave yesterday. From the point of view that we were all calling for Rashford to be dropped. Everybody was, right? And he called for him. He brought Marcus Rashford on with 10 minutes to go. And Marcus Rashford run more in 10 minutes than what he's running in 3
Yeah,
years.
he did. That was so weird. At 3-0 down, he was running around, going into a couple of tackles, and people in my stand actually stood up and clapped when we were 3-0 down just to see Rashford actually have a bit of bite. Like it was nothing because we were 3-0 down, but it was weird, and he was ill.
Apparently,
but it was weird. You're right. I picked up on that, Kenny. I was like, all of a sudden he's running. Why do it now? 3-0 down.
Where was you against Newcastle doing that? And that's only because, like I say, he's been forced to do that. He doesn't want to do it because he wants to be normal and he just wants to run forward. But it was all over. It was all down the left-hand side. I thought, why are you doing this? I've got to blame. I do blame. I'm not saying of course, I'm not against Ten Hag, obviously not. And we have to give him time. But he's going to, I keep saying it, he's going to fall on his own sword. We were getting absolutely outplayed yesterday. You've got Rafael Varane sat on the bench and Kobe Manu sat on the bench. And we was putting up with that crap. And I mean crap. It was awful. It was awful. There was no appetite in the ground to support or even... there was nothing. Everybody was absolutely fed up, and everybody could see it. And it just made it worse. The fact that we all could see how we were playing, and there was no attempt whatsoever to change our style of play, none whatsoever. And you could have quite easily brought McTominay off, brought Manu in, gone to 2 in the middle, and we could have played counter-attacking. We could have played counter-attacking then, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And we never, ever, at any stage in the game, looked as though we was going to take any control in that game. No, it was very thorough.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem. And over to you, John. I mean, obviously, just being in the ground yesterday, bro, and speaking to people outside the ground just to, like, give you an insight. Like, I've been there through, like, when it got toxic under Jose in the stadium. I've been there when it got toxic under Ollie in the stadium and stuff like that, and LVG actually, but I wasn't making content then. But yesterday was like one of the first times I've seen it be like an acceptance. Like there wasn't fans standing up in my bit swearing, doing this. Oh, look at us with I saw that in the Pogba era when it all come down and all that. I saw that under the Jose era when it all come down. Yesterday there was like this
lethargy,
acceptance. That's like, Flex, I'm not even like, this is what we are. Like, and that's even more dangerous. That's
what will get him sacked. That's what will get him sacked.
Yeah,
but I think Manchester
United.
I think Manchester United fans are in this position now where I think we're all sort of coming to this rude awakening, this long slumber of 10 years under past Sir Alex Ferguson's era. I think like the era under Sir Alex Ferguson is like you getting married to your first love. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. The love making is gorgeous. Everything is fantastic. But then y'all break up because she gotta move. You know what I'm saying? And now you get married to some other thing, but you know it's not the deep love. And you just you're kind of at this point where you're just really full on accepting that this is gonna be your life. And I'm not trying to sound doom and gloom, but that's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Manchester United fans, we've experienced so much since Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, the tweet that was going around yesterday was people were retweeting David Moyes' tweet from 2013 about Man United having to improve in areas like we're still in that position. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's where we're at, you know. And like I was watching the Spurs versus Newcastle game today, and people talk a lot about how Ange plays his style of play and Erik Ten Hag doesn't. And I do agree with that sentiment to a certain extent. I think Erik Ten Hag doesn't help himself when he doesn't get a little bit more creative in terms of working with the assets at his disposal. Ange, however, has quality in all thirds of the pitch that he can rely on. You see Sonny, he's been leading the line. He's their highest goal scorer. Today, they had played Richarlison up top with Sonny on the left, which is a bit weird considering the fact that Sonny, while he's still blisteringly fast, he's lost his pace a bit. But today, that first goal that they scored.
He was electric. Yeah, he's electric.
Insane.
Straight past,
He had trips on ice, and then he put it on a fucking plate for Richarlison. And my man was doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like that second one for Richarlison, he gave Trips the feet. He gave him a proper
insane. You know what I mean? And this is what
was that the first one? Can't remember.
I can't even remember. I was just screaming. It was funny. But actually, but my point is that at the end of the day, Erik Ten Hag, his quality of players is nowhere near the levels of certain other teams. And I'm not saying that Spurs has a much deeper squad than Man United. Don't get me wrong. But Erik Ten Hag has to take some of the blame no matter what. He spent some of the money on the players that he signed. You saw Anthony. There was one. I did the match review for United View. I was livid at one point for Anthony because there was a moment where he received the touch on the right wing. He beat the player. He beat the defender. When you beat the player and you're on the right touchline, you take the fucking ball and you drive it 40 yards forward and you just haul ass. But instead, he does this thing where he beat him once, dropped his shoulder, and he just dropped the shoulder, did this thing, and then he just, with the bottom of his boots, just rolled over the ball as if he's saying, get up, let me do it again to you. What is my man on? You beat his ass, go drive forward. You know what I mean? And don't even get me started on the whole Diogo Dalot situation. Like, I love Diogo. I think he's a lad. I think he's a proper lad. He's a good fella. But my problem with Diogo has always been that he has this tendency to want to play hero ball. My man just always has this idea. He wants to hit like a couple celebrate. I don't know what it is. But in that moment where he should have hit Rasmus, he decides to go for a shot in such a tight angle. And the thing that annoyed me even more is watching the replay. Prior to all that happening, he checks over his shoulder at least twice to confirm Rasmus's position. He could feed that, but he goes for the shot.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That one at the near post, everyone went crazy.
Terrible.
So, Sonny, and look, it might sound like I'm biased because I'm Korean and Sonny's Korean. Sonny could have went for a shot too. He had trips dancing. My man was shimmying. He could have went for the shot too, but he instead feeds Richarlison, who's in a much better position to put the shot in, and then you see Richarlison doing this. You know what I'm saying? And my point is that we still have a lot of work to do. Our players are still lacking in many areas. Some might be brighter than others, but they're still far from perfect or near even close to perfect. And Erik Ten Hag still has work to do. So this is a work in progress. Nobody ever said that work in progress wasn't going to be painful. It's as much as I'm with Marcel in certain areas, I also feel like Erik Ten Hag needs to shape it up because this is getting to a point where now we're sitting here thinking, all right, Erik Ten Hag, like we back you, we love you to death, but this has to change a bit.
Yeah.
No, I see what you mean. I agree with
that, though,
everything.
look at Emery. Look at Emery at Villa. He's been in less than Ten Hag's been in, and they've got a real. They play with real passion. They play for each other. They're a real group of players.
Is that because of the players, though, Kenny? Do you think less due to the manager? Because I don't know.
That's the culture. I'm not having as them Aston Villa players are better footballers.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. In terms of in terms of the ability to be inspired. That's what I mean. In terms of the ability to actually be inspired and work for the manager, as opposed to this group of players that, let's be honest, like last season they worked for the manager, but then, as they always do, at some point they stop. And then when they stop and results get bad, then suddenly they decide they don't like the manager anymore. They're like, I mean, you know, John brought up the relationship analogy, but they're like someone that can't settle down. They get itchy feet after 12 months, 18 months, and they go, someone else again. I feel like the spark's gone. I've got to find someone else. And always, and sometimes I think as fans, we're guilty of this too. We're always looking for the next one. Who's the next up and coming coach? We see someone that does well in the Prem. It won't be long till Unai Emery gets linked to us.
He already has been.
Yes, me. Get Unai in. He'll be good. He'll be good. And then Unai will come in. It'll be the same. It'll be 18 months time. We knew this. They've stopped working for him. He's too much of a discipline. We don't like how he says good evening. Like it'll be something, because it always is. It's always something with these players.
But what we have to hope for is that, and this is about Ten Hag, is that when Ratcliffe comes in and he brings his new team in, is that this January window, he says, we are not buying anyone. We are not buying anyone, because I'm not spending 50, 60 million until I know exactly what we've got in there. And if he brings a director of football in and they start to revisit how everything is structured behind Ten Hag, you cannot move forward. You cannot move forward, because as fans, it won't be long. Give it another 2 or 3 weeks. There'll be thumbnails everywhere. Oshiman's coming. Touch about it's coming. And we get carried away with it. And it's proved over a period of 10 years to be doomsday when that happens. It's doomsday. What has got to happen for Ten Hag's sake is that they'd step back and then they turn around and say, right, we've got to get rid of Marcel. How much is that going to cost us to get rid of him? Right? Do we want McTominay? Do we want Maguire? Do we want Dalot? How much is it going to cost in the first instance to get them out the club? That's what you do. What you don't.
Well, we just gave Dalot a brand new contract.
I'm not saying.
Under
what I'm saying, if them are being identified as the players that are not of the standard, because that's who the names were being mentioned. They've already mentioned 3 players already. Are you with me? And they're the ones that we're critical of. So for me, what they've got to do is draw a line with regards to transfers and say, right, if we get into Europe, we'll be lucky. If we get into Europe, we'll be lucky. If we get into top 4, we'll be very, very lucky, the way that we're going. So there's got to be an acceptance that spending 50, 100 million will not get you that, because it's been proved. Because you've got good players on the bench that we can't manage. We can't manage Sancho. We can't manage Varane for whatever reason. But we're not managing them because they ain't playing and they're fit. So I think that's where they'll draw the line and start again. And that's what you need.
I think my thing in what I was talking about, Rich, is I wasn't sure if like Ten Hag will last like this week because of like how bad I think the week's gonna go. And you know what? In hindsight, am I being too hasty? Like we said, Man United don't have a plan to sack Eric Ten Hag. They don't.
No.
And I don't want them to. I want them to. I've said when I do calm down, I have said a lot like, if we have to write this season off and finish 7th, 8th, and just get some calm because loads of things going to happen, we have to do it. We have to do it. It's going to hurt so bad because of the like I said, I don't remember a team in their cycle of not being good taking such embarrassment, though. I know, like, Chelsea at the minute, you know, we've never had a season where we finished 12th or wherever they finished. I get that. But, like, their recent history, like in the last 10 years, they've won a lot. Like, do you know what I mean? It's only been 2 years since they've been bad. Or whatever it is, when they win the Champions League 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. So like they have been. Don't get me wrong, it's laughable that they've spent £1 billion in 1 year and look where they are. But I mean, in terms of like 7-0, 6-3, you know, Watford was 3-0 or 4-1, something like that. Leicester was 4-0. There's just been so many stuffings. Are you scared that Ten Hag can't make it through like this week because we'll probably get smashed off Bayern and almost certainly get smashed off with Liverpool? Or do you think it won't be as bad as we think it will be?
I mean, there's a very real possibility that, yes, it will be a very, very, it could be, not will be, hopefully, but it could be a very, you know, damaging week for Ten Hag's tenure. I think right now, as things stand, I don't think there's any plans, like you said, for United to get rid of him. I don't think, even the comms that you're seeing this week, people are talking about, January, United are looking at, I think Fabrizio came out and said, oh, we're looking at doing stuff in January, bringing players in, etc. So there's no plans for him to go. However, like you said, Bayern could be damaging. They lost this weekend, so they're probably looking, to try and bounce back. And Liverpool could be very damaging. Every time Liverpool have thrashed us under a manager, other than, I guess, under Ten Hag, when we lost 7-0 last season, it's been like, okay, this guy has to go soon. Under Ole, he has to go. And then he went like the week after we lost again. Under Mourinho, that was the last game. So they could literally put the nail in the coffin. And I think it could get to that stage. Yeah, exactly. Under Ralph Rangnick as well. Like that was always going to be the case anyway, right? Because we were dreadful at the end of that season. So I think there's a very real possibility that could happen. I think, yesterday I was very much like, Ten Hag has to take ownership for this and has to take accountability for this poor performance. But at the same time, I do want to give him time. And I think, when you think about it in context, as Marcel's been saying, we have to get behind a project. And while I'm looking at yesterday, I'm thinking we were beaten so easily on transition. Our midfield was shocking, and he has to start being less stubborn, especially in game, and changing something in game. Bringing in a player, in that midfield to sort things out, and not letting McTominay be the end of him, right? But I think we have to get behind him. I do think we have to get behind the project. Other people are saying get rid of him, bring in the next manager. You don't know if that manager will want to succeed. But it's almost like we're always doing this gambling thing and waiting for the next person. Like Owen said, we're waiting for the next big thing. We're waiting for the next big player, big manager to come and save us. Let's get behind this manager. Let's give a guy a project to hopefully get that project going. But to answer your question, this week could throw that all in the bin. And, like if we lose badly and lose these 2 games badly, it could be over. He's on borrowed time. It really could be over.
Do you think that could happen, Owen?
It's timing, isn't it?
Do you think that could happen?
I was going to say it's timing because Erik Ten Hag finds himself in a situation at the moment where I don't think, really irrespective of what happens this week, I expect us to go at the Champions League and I expect us to lose at Anfield. Yeah. But I don't think he'll be sacked because I don't think it makes a lot of logical sense for the people currently in charge to sack a manager when in a couple of weeks' time they're not going to be in charge anymore. Yeah. So I don't think
it depends how bad it is, though. And if it's really bad.
This was going to be my point. So, I mean, obviously, look, if it's catastrophic, then maybe. My concern more is that it gets so bad and so toxic that when the Jim Ratcliffe stuff is ratified and all that kind of stuff, that they're in a kind of change mode anyway. They're kind of in a fresh start mode anyway. They go, we're getting rid of the CEO, a new one's coming in. We're getting rid of the football director. We're getting in a couple of sporting directors. We're revamping the whole football side of things. It might suddenly Ten Hag might get swept into that because it's so bad that they might think, oh, fresh start anyway. And that's my worry with that, because that just happens whenever there's acquisitions, mergers, takeovers, etc. People like to bring their own people in. Now, the reports had indicated previously that they like Ten Hag, so they're going to stick with him. He's just going to be more focused on coaching as opposed to recruitment. But my worry is that it might get too bad that he might get kind of swept up in all of it. But I don't think that's going to happen this week. I mean, if you want to talk about a couple of players, I mean, we're going to Anfield next weekend without our captain because he decided to get booked.
Owen, do you remember that? Do you remember what show was it you asked me, do you think Bruno won't get booked or something? Was that, it was 2 mornings ago or something?
I
said, you can't say that because the refs, either the refs are rubbish or Bruno's going to do something stupid. But
it's the circumstances, isn't it? It's
3-0 down when the game's 3-0
down. It's gone. Like
that's the first time I felt like he's done it on purpose. I swear to you. That's the first time I thought you don't want to go Anfield.
Not even like a tackle. Like, you know what I mean? Not even like a tackle where you just go, what are you doing? He just got. I mean, the biggest stick people hit him with is petulance, isn't it? And it sums him up. He misses the game because of petulance. There was a game last season that of all the players that got criticised, and everyone did, he got criticised the most because he was the captain on the day, and those accusations that Gary Neville threw at him that weren't true about how he wants to come off. And there was that discussion, wasn't there? Should he be the captain? And he wasn't even the captain at the time, technically, after that Liverpool game. And you're thinking, I know it's in a bad moment, but this time go back there, try, silence a few critics, silence a few doubters, and he just made him louder. And he's not going to play. And if we do play, even if we lose, we play half decent, they'll be going, hey, Bruno.
Yeah,
you don't play many games. And then, McTominay's playing. And I saw it. It was Adam Crafton on Twitter, because I do want to shout out. He said, and I totally agree, Scott McTominay is Marouane Fellaini. They're the same player.
100%.
They are the same player in that they really technically and tactically offer nothing to the team. Zero. They're almost to a detriment of the team. But what they do is score goals, late goals, and they end up in the box and stuff happens. And then you play them because you go, well, no one else is scoring goals or no one else is scoring late winners. I got to play him. Or if stuff's going bad, you bring him on because you think, hey, he might score. They're the same player. They're the same player. But ultimately, it's not sustainable long term. Fellaini had to go and McTominay's the same. But that's what I worry with Ten Hag as well, is he found himself in a similar situation that Van Gaal has found himself in, that Jose found himself in as well, with a player like Fellaini, where they went, I know he's not it, but no one else is doing their job, so I've got to compromise my principles and I've got to bring him on. And Ten Hag found himself in the same situation. So like with a lot of things at United, application, players down in tools, a bit like with the managers, they're having to change things because stuff isn't working out as well. It's the same pattern over and over and over and over again. And somehow we've got to break that cycle.
But the other thing as well, and you've all touched on it, there is not one person tonight on this panel said that we can still go through on the Champions League. There is not one person on this panel that think we can get a result at Liverpool. So everybody knows in the same cycle as it was under previous managers. We've got to a stage where we, as much as we keep saying, it is a project, we've got to give him 2 years. It won't happen, because once that negativity comes into the fan base, you will not change it. So what we have not mentioned, the fact that we could quite easily beat Bayern Munich, and we could, right? And they could draw, and we go through. And then, don't forget, Manchester United have to have European football. We might not like the Europa League, but we have to have it. You're seeing today what Newcastle are having a consultation with the fan base about moving the ground, because they need a bigger ground, because they've got to get more income in so that they can compete on FFP. That's what they're talking about. How do we compete on FFP if we've got no Europe? It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. So we're our own worst enemies, but we're all bringing our club down. Collectively, we are. And I know it's still happening on the pitch, and we don't want to do, but we've got in that cycle. There's not one person tonight said we can beat Bayern Munich. We can beat Liverpool. There's not.
Can I just include that I'm seeing in the comments a lot of sort of slander against Bruno Fernandes, saying that he wanted to book an early Christmas ticket and whatnot. I think, as much as I understand, look, that's what
I felt like. I'm not gonna lie, John. I'm with him. That's how angry I was.
I think he was frustrated.
But
No, but you guys know that I actually was not a big fan of the idea of Bruno being captain, because I'm not a big fan. It's just a personal preference thing. I'm not a big fan of players that overly are petulant. Like, it's just when you get too wild out, that's not my thing. But I love and respect Bruno Fernandes 1,000%, and I respected Erik Ten Hag's decision. If there's one thing I'll give Bruno Fernandes, however, is that he is on it 24/7. There's not one game where he's not wilding out. He's like that every game. And with respect to him getting angry and frustrated, he's always emotional. Every single game. There's not one game where he's smiling and happy. No, he's mad, and he's always doing this all the time. So for people to insinuate the fact that he got booked on purpose, I think that's very harsh on Bruno, because he gives it 100% on the pitch.
Well, he should have been more sensible, though. I have to agree.
No, that part, no, Rich, I hear you.
80th minute.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. He should have been smarter there, especially as a captain.
Yeah, I'm going to get these super chats out before you guys carry on. Martial's, I read K-Flow already. Yeah. Chris says, Martial's heat map had him occupying the exact same position as Bruno outside the box. How are we meant to score when nobody is in the box? Sounds like a really silly question, but it's very true. Kishan, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Says, Arsenal had the lowest of lows when Arteta came in. Example, they lost 3-0 at home to Aston Villa, who were bottom half, as an example. They were calling for his head. It's so bad, but we have to give it time. Stop this cycle. Marcel definitely agreeing with that. And I think a lot of us do agree with that. Yoga says, David De Gea, the last Sir Alex signing, results in the worst start we've ever had. Ed says, I'm going to miss Tottenham Hotspur. Wish we
Ten Hag.
Ten
Ten
Hag.
Hag. I'm gonna miss Tottenham because every time I see it in abbreviation, it's always ETH. I just got double.
Yeah.
Gonna miss Ten Hag. We wish we could sack the team instead. So I think Ed's basically resided to the fact that he thinks Ten Hag will go. Chris says our wingers and midfielders shoot constantly instead of setting up Højlund, Garnacho, Rashford, Antony, Scott, Bruno, Casemiro, Palestri all take more shots per 90. Donald says only 3 out of 14 players involved yesterday was not signed or given a new contract by Ten Hag. So he is defo under scrutiny. Kishan says everyone moaning about him not starting Højlund. We were told from the very beginning he cannot play 2 games a week. It has nothing to do with Erik Ten Hag not trusting him. If not Martial, who else is there? Okay, fair play. It probably was to do with managing the load. You know you need him against Bayern Munich. You know you want him to probably play against Bayern Munich and Liverpool as well. So that'll be 3 games in a week, and you probably don't want him to play that. So I hear that now. Keegan says anyone in the Ten Hag out camp is on crack. These players will throw the next manager under the bus after 18 months. Ralph Rangnick told us this needs surgery, open heart surgery. Craig Thomas Miller says, I'm not Erik Ten Hag out, but you get to the point you can't keep losing. If not after Bayern, he's gone after Liverpool. Craig also says, United waiting for Poch to be sacked first. So predictable. The manager, the club really wanted, the fans wanted Ten Hag. Interesting.
We ain't getting Poch. Definitely.
He's not covered. He's saying he needs more money in January.
Yeah, exactly.
Full Studio says sacking him now won't mean we finish top 4. Fletcher as a temp won't change anything. We will finish worse off. Ten Hag's still the best option we have. And Chalaboy Comics says Mourinho, a man who won 2 Champions Leagues and 8 Premier League titles, or 8 league titles, should I say? Said finishing second with this United was his greatest achievement. Let that sink in, LOL. We got to trust Erik Ten Hag. Colin says, cheers, guys. Great show. Always watching. Thank you, Colin. Cheers, Colin. To you. And Gurav says, I hate to say it, Arteta and Arsenal have set up correctly. Get rid of the old poisonous players and let the manager set his own philosophy. Let's be real. Arteta was trash in his first 2 seasons. And it's not even just they got it perfectly in terms of letting the manager bring his own philosophy. They all agreed it together. Josh Kroenke got more involved after Usmanov went, and then they changed it in terms of being more involved. They sat down with Edu and whoever else the technical director is and sporting director is and said, right, let's press the stop button. We have to stop doing this. And then I said this in my video earlier. There are some comparisons we can draw from Arsenal. Not even comparisons. Some inspiration, if we're being honest. You don't want to admit it, but we can look at their blueprint and say, let it work for us. But one thing they did get really right, which we haven't. We can't say we haven't. I know it's early with Erik Ten Hag. One, obviously the structure above the manager is not clear and it's very murky and it still doesn't exist yet because INEOS aren't here yet. So that's the first thing. Secondly, when they did buy into what the manager was doing, the signings from that point onwards really worked. Everyone laughed at Ramsdale. Everyone laughed at Ben White. People said, who the hell is Tomiyasu? Those signings all worked. Then it went on to Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Timber, Gabriel, bringing back Saliba into the fold at the right time. Then you look at what they've done now, Declan Rice. You look at Trossard in January when they needed a little bit of a boost. Excellent signing. I can't think of, even the Havertz one we're saying is trash and he's still got 4 goals.
It's not just it's like your point.
Started to work.
I think it's a good point that you do point out that it's not obviously Arteta gets the praise and the plaudits because he's the coach, he's the one doing the interviews, he's the one going crazy on the touchline every week. But it's all Eddie's a big part of that equation.
It's nowhere near just all on.
And at United, who's that? John Murto.
Yeah,
realistically, and those players they got rid of, they took a loss on all of them. A lot of them were free transfers, get rid of them, no money, and that's what we'd have to do on these players. We'd have to be like, right, that's what I said, we're going to have to get rid of them. Yeah.
When INEOS come in, just draw a line and start again. And it's as if it's Erik, and the fans have got to accept that. It's Erik Ten Hag's first week in the job when Radcliffe comes in. And they work together. They work with the sporting director. They work with new chief executive officer. They look at the books and they say, right, who can we afford to get rid of? Who can't we get rid of? And we start again. And if that means that we finish 7th or 8th this year, so be it. We do not want fans craving for superstars and shirt sellers in January, because that is just repeating itself over and over again. You've got to get the structure right. You've got to get the structure right.
Absolutely. Marcel, I mean, what say you in terms of, I know you're obviously sticking behind Eric Ten Hag. You've made that very, very clear, and rightly so. I think we all kind of want to and all are to a certain extent. We just know that more pain's coming. But as this unfolds, with especially this week, or even the next 5 games, I was talking about it earlier, it's like Bayern Munich, Liverpool, you got West Ham away in there, you've got Villa at home. Then I can't remember who the 5th one was. Someone else difficult. Can't remember who that was. But, tough games. Is it just a case for you of, listen, just when it comes, it's gonna come, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be embarrassing, but just keep calm. Is that what you're on, basically?
Literally, just keep calm. We've seen it with the other managers that are very successful. They've built dynasties. Pep, Klopp. They've been here for a long period of time, and the first couple of seasons it was horrible. They've tried to implement their new system, and then think about our club as well. The last 2 managers were counter-attacking managers, so all these players are built on those principles or for that style of football. Yes, his signings, Ten Hag signings, haven't worked recently, but give them time. And then he needs to get rid of this deadwood, like I was saying before. So yes, against Bayern Munich, I said, I think a couple of games ago before the Galatasaray game, I don't care about Champions League. You can see the way Onana was throwing it, and yes, that's a goalkeeper that I thought would have been brilliant, hit the ground running for us, but it hasn't worked so far. But he's thrown the Champions League, and that's something we're going to have to deal with. We have to be able to, put together a good run now in the Premier League to get back into it for next season. Top 5 positions. I think that's got to be our focus. Against Liverpool, I know, Kenny, you're saying that there's no way we win something, but you guys know what I'm going to say. There's 100% chance that we can get something out of that game.
Come on, Marcel.
Okay, which game? Which game? Liverpool.
Yes. Fleck, you spoke to AV. Fleck, you spoke to AV the other day. So
and I told him what I thought as well. I told him what I thought. He said.
Well, I know you did, but at the end of the day, that there's fans out there that believe that we can get a performance.
No, well, look, in terms of the scientific thing, it's 11v11 at the start. It's a football match. Any team can win. Apart from that one thing, but it's like
chance, Marcel. 100% chance.
Yeah, 100% chance that we can get something out of the game. So
be very careful with your words.
If you hold out to listen to it, it's not incorrect. So
it's possible.
I agree with Marcel. I honestly think we can beat Bayern Munich. I honestly do. Even with that team, I do. Because if he gets it right and makes a few changes, we saw against, all right, Chelsea wasn't brilliant, we know that. But we could there was a spirit, there was a way, they created chances. So we can do it. We can beat Bayern Munich. And Liverpool are not playing well. Yes, they're getting results. I know they're getting results. Yesterday against Crystal Palace, the first 50 minutes, 60 minutes, they were awful.
Yeah, that's what's weird about Liverpool. They give you chances, but you need to be a good enough team to exploit that. And Fulham and Crystal Palace are, and we're not.
I think for me, with Ten Hag, I think for me with Ten Hag, I think it's a case of I think we need to get to this place as a fan base here that managers can make mistakes, right? This guy can make mistakes, but is he going to learn from those mistakes, right? That's my thing. Like, I agree. It's a mistake. It is a mistake playing McTominay at this point is a mistake because there is no support in the midfield. It's a mistake that the midfield is so light and you can just get through it. We're so rubbish on a transition when the only way Bournemouth beat us yesterday was a transition and set pieces, really. We had so much of the ball, we just didn't use it very well. So if he can learn from these mistakes, then we're in game, we're in business. But if he doesn't learn from the mistakes, then I get it. Because let's be real here, Ten Hag is not a rubbish manager. People are coming in here in the comments and everything saying, "Oh, he's a fraud, What does that even mean? Like, he's not a fraud. Like, he's a professional manager that has been successful in his previous club at Ajax. He's a genuinely good manager. He's good at his job. We come in here as fans thinking that we know best or, we know the tactics. We know this. Really, we don't know nothing. Like, we're the ones that don't really know anything. This guy's a professional. Let him do his job. But he has to learn from his mistakes. He is making mistakes. He's a human being, but he has to learn from those mistakes. Otherwise, it's game over.
He has been learning, Rich. He has been, because and the problem is it's 3 games too late, because we was calling for Rashford to be dropped 3 or 4 games ago, and he pushes it right to the edge and thinks, I've no choice.
He's stubborn. He's a little bit stubborn. He is a little bit stubborn. Yeah.
Stubborn, exactly. So the likelihood is that McTominay will get another couple of games before he gets done again. Then McTominay will go back. But the changes should be happening in game. They should be happening in game. That's the issue. Not 5 days after in game. We can see it. We can see it when we're watching. We can see what's not working. We can see who's not doing what they should be doing. And you've got Kobe Mainoo on the bench. You've got Kobe Mainoo on the bench. And I'm thinking, everybody knows how well this lad's played. The pundits are telling you, that's the scores. Keane, they're all saying, this lad's a player. This lad's a player. And Varane, 3-4 Champions League or World Cup winner, and you're on the bench. Well, it's going to have to swallow a bit of pride. If I know you're all going to go mad, but if I was Radcliffe, I'd come here. If I was Radcliffe, I'd go there Monday morning. I'd say, Luke, sort yourself out with Jadon Sancho and get him in at number 10 next week. That ain't happening. I know it's not going to happen.
I'll tell you that, mate. That
you know
ain't
as well as me.
I'm done with Sancho personally.
I'm all right, but what I'm saying is, if circumstances would have been different, we wouldn't have minded Bruno being out next week because Sancho would have been our number 10. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's at home. And is it a PS3 or PS5?
I was going to say you're a PS3.
PS3 or PS5?
Game Boy Classic. Game Boy Classic, the grey one. The Game Boy Classic.
They're asking for you to be after the Sancho one, Kenny. They're asking you to be sin bin for that as well. They want you sin bin.
Generational thing. No.
There's some more super chats here to say it as well afterwards. Oh, K Flow as well, who just asked for Kenny to be sin binned. He's gifted five United View memberships as well. Big up to you, K Flow. Thank you for supporting the channel and gifting those memberships. And welcome to everybody, the 5 people who've been gifted those memberships as well. And anyone else can join the membership club as well. You get your exclusive perks, your exclusive emojis. You can call in Match Day Live and have your say with Owen from wherever you are in the world. Right. And you get your UV Raws as well, which is everything and in between and behind the scenes in UV. VK says Bayern haven't lost the group stage game since 2017.
All right, they're going to lose one on Tuesday then. Let's go.
And Bournemouth had never beaten Man United.
That's it,
isn't it?
Mountains are made to be climbed.
The way you look at it.
Mountains are made to be climbed.
Yeah, Splash says, do you think Ten Hag will eventually win us the league if we stick with him, or is he just there to lay the foundations for the person who will?
Premier League and Champions Leagues.
Let's go. Come on. W's only.
If he stays.
Also, watch yourself.
He didn't even hesitate. He did that to
multiple. Plural.
Everyone went. And
Marcel's cold.
And Champions Leagues.
Cold.
Honestly. Proper cold, John. Wadjet says, if INEOS come in and say they're unhappy and want to replace Ten Hag, will there still be support of this fresh restart from everyone here? That is a good question. That is a good question. And actually, there are some more super chat. There's 2 more. Let me read those 2 and come back to what Wadjet just said. Daniel says, Bruno has played the most minutes in Europe. It's insane. Yeah, he's never injured. He's never injured, that's for sure. And Francium says, there is no future under Erik Ten Hag. Let's not forget, he didn't want to work with Ranić. Erik Ten Hag wanted full control. It's been arrogance from the beginning. Interesting, Francium. Wadjet said, basically, if INEOS come in and they say, right, I tell you what, we just want to start afresh. Everything. Every single thing. I know there's been money spent on players by Ten Hag and other managers before that, but this is INEOS now. I'm Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I'm Sir Dave Brailsford. I'm Jean-Claude Blanc. I'm Paul Mitchell. It's all different. Everything's different. How would people feel in the chat? You guys at home, let us know. Would you support a full-scale restart, or is it imperative that restart encompanies or keeps Erik Ten Hag at the helm of it? And that's obviously to the panel as well. I think
at this moment in time, it sounds like because things aren't going swimmingly, right? If it was at the end of last season, maybe not even the end of last season actually, because we didn't finish the end of last season quite that well. But if it was at the end of last season, after when we were doing really, really well, after that Carling Cup, that kind of stuff, I don't think people would have been here for it. But now at this stage where we're at in the season, if you get to the end of December and they come in January and they're like, yeah, we want to change things, start fresh, then actually I think most people would be for the full-scale restart. Even the people that are even us lot that are Ten Hag in, right? Or maybe less so Marcel, but us lot that are Ten Hag will be like, yeah, he hasn't been great. Let's see how the new one goes in. I think people will be more 75%, 25.
couple of permutations, isn't it? It's a couple of permutations. I think one, it depends on who that person is coming in, right? Because remember that report like a while ago, Graham Potter. If Graham Potter is linked, or like a Gareth Southgate, could you imagine?
Mate, if it's Gareth Southgate, But you know what I mean?
I'll stop doing this.
That's why.
No, Owen.
I'm
If
with
Gareth
you.
Southgate,
I'm with you.
I wouldn't do. I'd sell this mic.
Strike.
Let's
No,
design together, mate. Let's
I
rip it
would,
up.
Kenny.
Let's do it together. No, but
All
you
of
know what I mean?
these
So
things, you want this?
I'll
I'll
sell
sell
the
you this. I'll sell you this.
Yeah.
I'll sell you wires.
Do you want my AirPods as well? Do you want my AirPods? They're shit. I hate
I've got a
these.
light.
I've got
I've got a light.
Southgate,
I'll
full
sell you my light.
sale. Southgate, full sale.
Exactly.
Oh my
So it
days.
depends who the replacement would be. I think, to be honest, I probably could, as long as, again, depends who it is, and also as long as it was encapsulating everyone. I don't want to see a situation where it's like,
well,
well, I'm not even necessarily. I mean the players. That's my bigger focus on that. Is that like, so you go, okay, the managers go, and you go, well, okay, sweeping changes. I can get behind a new Manchester United, a future version of Manchester United. But then if they go, and we're going to try and get the best out of these players, I'll go, no.
Yeah, no.
We've tried. No. It's been long enough. Okay. If we're gonna really truly burn it down to build it back up again, that's what we have to do. But it does kind of depend on who the replacement is. Because if honestly, if it was like a Graham Potter or a Gareth Southgate, I'd have the same look as Rich yesterday. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Right? The comment was he looks like he's opened his Christmas present and he hasn't got the bike he wanted. It was this. That's my Gareth Southgate in face.
Oh, mate.
Do you know what? I looked at that and I thought, you know that filter that makes the crying face and the thing. I thought someone put that on his thing.
No, I was just devastated, bro. It was just me.
It's the jumper as well. It's the jumper.
I was trying to bring Christmas cheer. But there was no Christmas cheer to be had. There was none.
Oh, Rich, you literally looked like you were crying. It looked like 5 minutes before that. You were crying, your eyes are all red and stuff.
Rich got PS3 for Christmas. I got your PlayStation. PS3.
Press 2 plus 2 plus 5.
John, what are you saying if INEOS came in and said we're changing everything, including Eric Ten Hag?
I would be very disappointed and I'll be very shocked because change is good, but too much change all at once. We've seen history.
Yeah,
we've seen records. Yeah. We've seen it plenty of times how awful that kind of change can be. If you change too many things all at once, there's nothing that good that comes out of it. What I do want to see from INEOS is changes with respect to the upper management and changes with respect to some of the players. People that have been given chance after chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. I'm talking about them, man, that needs to be changed first. You can't mix things up when you see like a slight glimmer of hope and all of a sudden all these problems occur and then all of a sudden it's all on Eric Ten Hag. I think that's really unfair. We saw what he could do for us last season. You saw what he can do when he has his players. You see, look, I'm not saying that he's void of any criticism and it's like Eric Ten Hag doesn't deserve to, be. He deserves criticism as well. But there's been plenty of players in this squad. There's been plenty of people up top who's been doing things for Manchester United and have not produced. Simple as. And if Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if Sir Dave Brailsford, all these people come in and they don't see that, then I'll be very, very concerned. I would be upset because I'm Eric Ten Hag again. But if they change it at the end of the season, then I go, all right, this sucks, but at least I'll keep an eye out. But if they do it all now, if they just come in now, Happy New Year, by the way, Ten Hag, get out, then I'll be very, very upset. I'll be very concerned.
Kenny?
I think we'll see it in January. You'll see the people that are leaving, because we know there's a few going to be leaving in January. And I think then the message will be on the wall. If we see the likes of Donny van der Beek going out the door and Marcel or whatever, then we know there's real change coming. I think if we don't see that and they start waiting to the summer, then I think we've got a problem. then. And the problem could be financial. Nothing else. They may want to make the changes. But they can't because of the financial situation. It's going to cost or whatever. But I think that's where we look. January.
Yeah, but with respect to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are going to have to do is they're going to have to make a proper statement. They know that the Manchester United fan base are tired. They're sick of all this bull crap and all this noise. They need to make a statement to show us that they're going to do something different than what everybody else prior to them have been doing. And that's what I'm going to be looking for. Kenny mentioned Donny van de Beek. That's a given. My man's been ready to leave for a while now. We're talking about players like Anthony Marcel, who respectfully, as much as he's been good for us in certain occasions, has not been good enough to be a Man United player for a while. We're talking about players like Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay, albeit they're having a phenomenal resurgence, and I'm all for all the inspirational, beautiful vibes, but they were supposed to be sold, right? And they couldn't be sold because of one thing or another. Amrabat, who's a player we were looking at signing, and we ended up picking up on a loan deal at the very end. To what extent, if that was a good decision or a bad decision, later down the line, we'll know for sure. But I'm talking about with respect to decisions being made up top. It's been so half-assed. There you go. Manchester United signing. Look, don't get me wrong. Johnny Evans, I love Johnny Evans. But respectfully to Johnny Evans.
Be here.
Exactly.
Be here.
We have to see statement with respect to things up top first. It starts at the top. You know what I'm saying? You don't trim your pubes first. You get a haircut first. You feel me?
Wait.
There was a pause there before he said it. There was a pause. He thought about it.
Yeah.
What about me? We got long hair, John. We got long hair, man.
Yeah, but
wait.
It's
all right.
We're not sponsored by Manscaped. We're not sponsored by
Exactly.
Hey, this is gonna be my last episode appearance on the Full View. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a good time.
Manscaped, if you're watching, send John send in the pack. Send it. I've got some Manscaped stuff still in the box and stuff.
That's
some
the
past
best.
promotions I've done. Let me know your zip code, John. Let me know your zip code.
That's the best read you can ever get at it.
We have to have a laugh, don't we?
Honestly, you do.
Hey, yo, Flex, I'm pulling up London in January. You might want to give me that.
So I hear. So I Johnscaped. And when you come to London, bro, I will have it boxed up and ready, man, fresh.
Yes,
fresh.
sir.
Before we carry on, towards the end of the show, there was a couple more, so we'll just go to that. K-Flow just before that. Eric will win for us. Yeah, there you go. There's no future. It's not. Yeah, here we go. Catch the Deal says Eric will win. As for Jim, I don't know why we excited. They will run this club down. Eric is the right guy. Let's be honest. I'm not looking forward to Jim Ratcliffe coming in at all. K-Flow says, will fans be happy with their favourites, Rashford and Sancho, all part of the INEOS purge? Yeah, listen. Whatever happened, well, Sancho's going to go anyway.
He's gone.
Again, I want Rashford to come through the academy and I want him to be amazing. I want him to win top honours at Man United. I want him to have that story of winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues as a kid who's come through as a local boy and gone right to the top. I would love that story. I want that story. But if it's not going to be, and it's not going to be, if he decided he wanted something else or the club decided in something different and they got a big transfer fee for him, then as long as they spent that money correctly and upgraded, then yeah. But but the story I want, if you asked me to blank canvas and gave me a paintbrush, I'd paint the picture of Marcus Rashford standing there, holding up the Champions League, holding up the Premier League. That's what I want to happen. But what we want and what we get are two different things. Ketan says, team structure is a great problem with these players. Agreed. Javid is the latest member. He's been a member for 1 month. Big up to you. So that must be your 1 month anniversary. Big up to you. Chalaboy Comics says, INEOS has talked about British core a lot. Yeah, they did in their manifesto. I'd be interested to see what they do when they actually take control. What if that means they see Rashford as their main asset to build around? What will we say then? Again,
that's the scary thing about the Southgate and the Potter thing, you know. That
Again, we have to wait and see. Exactly, we have to wait and see.
That narrative already been happening? Hasn't that narrative already been happening?
Yeah, Rashford's been put on a pedestal already. He is the guy that we're trying to build. Or just give him 350 grand a week, new deal. So you're right, Marcel. That is already it. But if they further do it or reinstate it and build it around British core players, etc., then, well, time will tell how well that will go. But I think we all got our reservations over what that would look like. Keishan says, nothing will happen in January. The deal will still take weeks to get ratified. Unfortunately, the Glazers have screwed us again. Oh, it definitely feels like that. They've won. They've won this whole thing. You know, they have. And to finish off, we have to, because whenever there's a full view, well, the next full view would obviously be Monday night because we play Liverpool on the Sunday, don't we?
Yeah.
We just got to go around the room and see what type of week we think we're going to have. We have to do it. So, Marcel, Bayern Munich and Liverpool.
Start strong.
And you guys, and you guys in the comments, let us know as well.
Well,
hit the likes, guys. Hit the likes first. Hit the likes.
Hit the likes as well. Actually, before you do that, Marcel, we had like 1,800 people watching at one stage. We had 270 likes. That's my fault. I should have been reminding you guys. We should have at least 500. So as we do our predictions and go around the room before we sign out, try and get us to 500 likes if you could. That would be amazing. Marcel.
Bayern Munich, I think, unfortunately, is going to be a loss. I'm not too worried about the Champions League. Hopefully, he tries to play a weaker side for that game, or side of hopefully a counter-attacking side.
What is a weaker side? What's a weaker side versus a stronger side? I don't even know.
Our first 11.
That's the kind of predicament we're in. That really is a good point. That's a good point. But and then against Liverpool, I'm hoping for a draw. That's the best I think we'll get out of that. But I'm really hoping for a draw result. And then that'll be it. I think. Well, then who have we got next? West Ham or Liverpool or Villa?
We got West Ham away. West Ham away. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Okay, Rich.
For me, I'm gonna go for a draw versus Bayern. You know, maybe 2-2, and then we're out. Obviously, maybe Europa League. I don't know if we get to Europa League that way. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say I don't believe it, but I'm gonna do it. Right? We're gonna beat Liverpool at Anfield. I'm gonna do it. 2-1.
Okay. All right. Okay, Kenny. What say you?
2-1 against Bayern, and then
win.
Galatasaray win, obviously, and Galatasaray.
No, Liverpool. Oh, and Galatasaray. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go through.
So we're going through. Yeah.
Wow.
And Liverpool 1-1. Rasmus Højlund gets his first goal in the Premier League and makes the Scousers cry in front of the Kop. That's what we're doing.
I'm loving it.
That's what we're doing.
also, Kenny. Yeah. Last time I was on the full view, you predicted we'd lose. I think it was against Chelsea actually. So you know, I'm liking. Yeah.
I did.
Okay. Let's see.
First time ever that.
Yeah, exactly.
John.
I think we're gonna play a strong and hopeful 2-1 win against Bayern, but we don't make it past the group stages. And then I think we're going to draw at Liverpool.
Our first draw in the Premier League this season.
I'll take a draw at this point. It's been
Come on, Owen.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't. You don't want to hear. Well, by Owen's face, I don't think you want to hear. And I don't think you want to hear what I think was gonna. Okay, Owen.
No. I think the best we can hope for Tuesday is that because we were so bad at the weekend, maybe a bit like against Chelsea, we get a reaction-ish.
Yeah.
Problem is Bayern were really poor, and I think they get a reaction. So I think they beat us, honestly. I think we play well at points in the game, maybe, but I think they beat us. I think we go out of the Champions League. And Anfield, we're going to get smashed, honestly. I hate to be that guy, but seeing how we've played, particularly how vulnerable we are in defensive transition. Like Bournemouth beat us by playing on the counter-attack and they had the ball in the net like 6 times. Liverpool are the best in the league at it. Mo Salah running through that midfield. Mo Salah running at whoever's playing at fullback that day. Mo Salah potentially running at Johnny Evans, who could start Anfield, let's be honest, yeah? And Andre Onana, how many shots he's going to have him that day? From Gakpo, from Diaz, from whoever. It's going to be a long day at Anfield.
Stop with all this realism, Owen, man. Stop it, man.
It's going to be a long week. It's going to be a long week.
Oh, man.
I said that before the Bournemouth game. I was assuming we were going to win. Oh, it's still going to be a long week. It's going to be a long week.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize that. I know they lost, but I didn't realize Bayern lost 5-1.
They got thrashed. They got thrashed.
It's the worst result for us, literally. That could not be a worse result.
And Kane came out saying that they're going to react. Kane came out saying they're going to react next.
They have to.
Yeah, they're going to react, even though they're already through. It's just a free hit for them to get to actually react and go for it.
Yeah,
which is way more dangerous. So yeah, I'm with Owen. I think we lose. I think we lose quite comfortably, actually, against Bayern. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say how I feel. And then hopefully you lot could all say, Flex, you were so negative last week. You're an awful fan. How could you have said those things? And now look, hopefully you do say that. But I'm just going to say my real feelings. And Liverpool, I think we'll lose minimum. I want to say 5, but maybe 4. I I think we'll lose by a minimum 3 or 4-0. Minimum. That's minimum.
Wow.
Comfortably.
I think
And
we start all right against Bayern, by the way. I think atmosphere's up and we go, and we might even go 1-0 up, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I'm just prepared for the worst. I'm prepared. So when it happens, I know I'm saying this now because if it's 7-0 again, which I honestly think we're playing that bad, it could be 7-0 again. That's how I feel.
Flex?
Yeah.
I was saying that. I was saying that maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. I had a conversation with AGT and we were talking about, when do you play us? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he was like, just before Christmas. And he went, 7-0 again. I went, we'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see. I couldn't even go, no, it's not going to. We'll see.
Yeah.
Bournemouth had the ball in the net like 5 times, Old Trafford yesterday.
Dominic Solanke was the best player on the pitch, best striker on the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams. Yeah. And the game before that, I said McTominay was. That's a big problem. Do you know what I mean? Ketten says, I feel bad for Højlund. They don't pass to him. And Ray says, Glazers love the fandom. Love that the fandom want to have Erik Ten Hag out, deflects their blame again. It's been 10 years of this where Glazers get the fans to blame the manager. Yeah, most people are, like I say, trying to say break that cycle. We've read that one already. So that is all of the super chats. Guys, we've come to the end of the show. Some real home truths being spoken. And this week, guys, listen, buckle in.
Big week.
Buckle in. Do whatever rituals you need to do. If you're religious, obviously do the prayers. If you're not religious, just hope and do whatever superstition it is that you have. Good luck charms. Yeah, whatever it is, mate. You just do it. Just do it because this week is going to be a big one. I actually wish we don't have to face this week. You know what I mean? But here we are.
We'll come out the other side and be like, we loved it. It was great.
If you want to win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, this is what you have to do.
No, Marcel, no. We're not winning. No. This isn't, bro. You can't paint this to say, bro, wait there. Bro, you can't paint this to say the fixture list is the fixture list. You're challenging for top honours. You have to beat the best. Bro, we're at the bottom of the Champions League group and we're about to get smashed by Liverpool because we just lost to Bournemouth, bro.
I'm talking about the evolution of football right now. Going from our counter-attacking style to our footballing, possession-based style.
Masterclass.
That's what I'm talking about.
Possession-based style. That's what
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, on that note, as you can see, that is the feeling, apart from Marcel.
Expected pain. Expected
pain. We are out of here, guys. Smash the like on the video. Big up to John, big up to Rich, big up to Marcel, big up to Kenny, and big up to Owen, and of course, you guys in the chat as well. We are out of here. See you soon. Actually, and lastly, I will be in the press conference tomorrow. So again, like I said in the video I've done beforehand, if you're watching this back or just quickly now put in the comment section where it stays, what questions do we want? What do we even ask Ten Hag? Put it in the live chat on the way out. I'll see it. Because I need your help on there, guys, because I'll be honest, I'm empty. If I see Eric right now, I don't even know what to say. That's how bad it is. I don't even, normally I'm like,
no eye contact.
Eye contact. Hopefully, no eye contact. Like, hopefully it's Varane. Hopefully it's Varane in the presser. Hopefully,
number.
Yeah.
Is he gone?
Yeah. I don't even want to see any of the players in the presser. So yeah, get your questions in. Help me out because I'm empty. Yeah. Anyway, guys, take care. See you tomorrow. Peace.